Hi folks, welcome to your Smash Grapes Best Spanish Wine Tasting Kit. Coming up, you've got our 6 drink-along videos with a little bit more information on each of the wines. Enjoy. This is Centellio Tempranillo Syrah from La Mancha in Spain.
Yes, here we have a blend of Spain's most widely planted red grape, Tempranillo, with a hint of Shiraz, a grape most at home up the road in France, as well as in the New World. Tempranillo blends are the staple of what the Spanish like to call, and a style of wine we love, table wines.
Now, I am a big fan of table wines because I think they're the very symbol of what a wine should be. No fuss, no frills, just really tasty, really easy drinking. They don't need to be the centre of attention, more like the accompaniment to whatever you've got going on. A great family meal, a wedding, whatever the occasion is.
That's right, and the Spanish, particularly in La Mancha, are excellent at these types of wine because they have been doing it for so long. Every man and his dog make their own wine in this part of Spain, and they make it for one reason only, quenching thirst. But there is a bit of science behind it. Tempranillo is a high acid grape variety for red. It maintains acidity even when fully ripened in the Spanish sun. Acidity is the mouth-watering, thirst-quenching element of wine. The Shiraz adds a little more extra fruitiness, which makes it moreish, and that's exactly what we have here. Thirst-quenching, but moreish wine. You could sink the whole bottle accidentally very easily.
I think the key to a good table red as well is nothing too big and brash. Those big Aussie Shirazes that rip your face off are all very well and good with a bit of steak, but you want something a little more relaxed for your casual drinking.
Absolutely, Tempranillo is a great example of a medium-bodied red grape. That means the alcohol and tannins stay fairly low and the acidity high, making the overall body of the wine about medium, a great all-rounder at the dinner table.
So I'm guessing the food pairing with this is pretty, anything really.
Yeah, I mean, so many things come to mind here. A bit of roast lamb, even some mild curries or casseroles. The Shiraz just gives it a peppery spice that you could match with all types of seasoning.
Oof, sounds like a feast. Cheers. This is Pegaso Ganacha, a vino de la tierra from Spain.
Yes, Ganacha is the grape here, a popular Spanish red grape that is full of jammy red fruit flavour, as well as high in refreshing acidity. This Ganacha is what's called a vino de tierra, or VDT. They have a similar French term in France, both meaning wine of the land. What it basically means is there is no specific certified region that these grapes belong to. However, we know that the winemaker, Victor Manzanas, a favourite of ours, is based between Rioja and Navarra.
Okay, so should we be worried about wines with unspecified regions? VDTs are pretty common. How are they different from something like, say, Rioja or La Mancha on the bottom?
VDTs basically mean less rules and regs about how the wine is made, as it's not come from a certified region. However, if you know who's made the wine, you know the quality of the practices they use. That's why if you are going to buy VDT wines, it's great if you can speak to a retailer about where it's come from.
Okay. So I know we get Ganacha or Grenache in wine like Côte d'Rône and Rioja blended in with other wines. So why does it favour a blend?
Ganacha is another high-yielding red grape that does well in the sun. It gets super concentrated and rich in flavour, what we like to call jammy. If jammy is not your thing, then by adding in other grapes to add structure, spice or body to the wine, you might get something more balanced, as they say in the wine game. But if you are looking for an out-and-out jam fest, as many as you are in a red, this is the grape for you.
I mean, yeah, I love it. What food are we going for here then?
Well, one of the other things about Ganacha is it retains some acidity really well, even when it's got to that jammy stage. This pairs brilliantly with rich but high acid food like tomatoes. Any dish with rich tomato ragu style sauce is going to be a winner.
I mean, sounds like a winner to me.
Cheers.
This is Mencia from Bierzo in Spain.
Yes, Bierzo, a small region right in the top left corner of Spain above the border with Portugal. This area is called the Iberian Peninsula and is quite a stark contrast to the rest of Spain, with wet, humid weather, almost tropical forests, and its own native grape varieties that favour cooler conditions rather than the arid central Spain. Its signature red grape is Mencia, not too dissimilar to Pinot Noir, being a high-acid, tart, red fruit tasting grape. however with a little bit more body and tannin than its French comparison.
The word tart always rings alarm bells for me, and it's not necessarily a flavour people might expect to like.
Yeah, so when I talk about tart red fruit flavours, there is actually a scale of fruitiness that we can relate back to the climate of a wine region. Red grapes that grow well in cooler climates tend to taste of tartar red fruits like cranberry or raspberry. As the climate of the region gets warmer, the fruit flavours move into the more red berry or plummy types of fruit. Warmer still and you get more black or bramble fruit flavours, and in the hottest countries those fruits become more cooked and jammy. It's all to do with acidity. Cooler climate grapes are naturally higher in acid. This, however, makes even red wines super refreshing.
Okay, well, it's easy drinking too, right? I mean, I love these wines because the tannins tend to be lower, which will make them go down really easy. Mencia, it's another one to add to my list.
Yeah, in cooler climates like Bierzo, that's not to say we're as cold as like northern France, however, grapes don't need thick skins to cope with the sun. It's the skin that contains all those bitter astringent flavours you get in some red wines. Thinner skins means less of that and more easy drinking.
Excellent stuff. This is an excellent wine. What can I pair with it?
Well, I think there's more to Mencia than just red fruit. It's got a herbiness, some spice and all sorts of unusual stuff. That's why anything gamey or lamb or stinky cheeses is a great match.
Sounds like heaven.
Cheers.
This is the Mimic Shiraz from Jamila in Spain.
That's right, a deliberate and in our opinion successful attempt by the Spanish to replicate a style of old vine Shiraz that the Australians have been knocking out successfully for some time. They actually call it the Aussie Basher and we love it.
So yeah, I mean, Shiraz is, I guess, the signature red grape of Australia. Why do those guys do it so good, and what are the Spanish doing with it?
Without a doubt, if you're looking for a full-bodied face ripper, Australian Shiraz has flew that flag for some time. Shiraz actually originated from the Rhone in France. It's the primary grape in all northern Rhone reds, where it has a spicy, smoky type flavour, as well as one of the three main grapes blended into southern Rhone reds, where it adds guts to the wines. Shiraz can really tolerate heat, with big, thick skins that allow it to become super ripe in the searing Australian heat. Develop all sorts of rich dark flavours, as well as a spice, licorice and vanilla, but brace yourself for those tannins. There's really no reason why the Spanish shouldn't do Shiraz. They've certainly got the heat down south in Jamila. The only reason it doesn't pop up that often is that they have their own native grapes that do the job as well, like Monastrel.
Yeah, I mean, I love all the flavours, but the tannins really do punch you in the face. It's almost like they don't want to do anything to smooth them out, and you can really taste the 14.5% in this wine. You know, it's warming with the alcohol.
For sure, with wines like these, really the only way to mitigate all the bitter tannin is with food. Red meat or high protein food actually breaks down the compounds in tannins to make the wine taste smoother and fruitier. The food will help with the alcohol too, I guess.
So we've got an Australian wine in Spanish clothing. You know, I'm guessing we need to throw another shrimp and get the barbie out, right?
Absolutely, for sure. Burgers with strong cheese, big bits of steak. You just need to pour everything on this wine.
On it. Cheers. This is Castillo de Henares Reserva from Navarra in Spain.
Another wine we love from Victor Manzanos, this time one of his signature Navarran reds, a blend of Riojan and Bordeaux grape varieties. This one with Riojan-style oak aging to make an absolutely cracking hybrid of a wine.
So Bordeaux grapes, you know, that's got to be Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon. And Rioja, well, that's Tempranillo. So have we got all three in here?
That's 100% correct. 40% Cabernet Sauvignon in this wine, 40% Merlot and 20% Tempranillo. The blending of French classics with Riojan classics might seem unusual, and well it is, but the two regions are actually quite similar. Both blend medium to full-bodied grapes, both have warm climates that are influenced by being close to the Atlantic. Both also use oak, however the Riojans tend to be a little bit more heavy-handed in that department, and they permit and love the use of American oak, something the French would never tolerate.
So there's a difference between the French and American oak?
For sure, French oak tends to be more subtle, toasty flavours. You can actually choose how toasted you want the barrel to be. They light a fire inside and you can pick how well done you want it. You get subtle spices, maybe leather or tobacco. Unsurprisingly, American oak is a bit more brash, with big flavours of vanilla and coconut and baking spices like cinnamon or nutmeg. This wine has had spent 18 months in a mix of the two. The 18 months is what makes it a reserva.
And the grape combo, what's that doing in terms of flavour?
Well, the Cabernet is the punchiest grape in there. Big, dark fruit flavours like blackcurrant or blackberry. The Merlot is velvety and plummy. Tempranillo is very similar, but also brings acidity to keep the wine tasting fresh. It's a fantastic all-round package, and frankly, a very classy wine from an unknown region.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like they've thrown everything at it, and it all works. What food are we having this one with?
Take this wine to a dinner party where you know someone is in love with Bordeaux. You'll fool them no problem, and maybe even convert them to Navarra. It doesn't matter what's on the table. It's so good.
Sounds like a plan.
Cheers.
This is, for me, a Pacheco Monastrel from Jamila in Spain.
Yes, if you're looking for the big guns, Jamila is the place to go in Spain. Their signature grape, Monastrel, aka Mourvedre in France, is like their Australian Shiraz. This wine has power, has guts, and is one of my absolute favourite wines to drink in the world.
Oof, drop in the favourite bomb. No, I know you love a Monastrel, but what is it that makes it a bit different to a big Aussie Shiraz?
So if we were to describe the fruit flavours of big red wines, Shiraz is mostly red fruit. Dark and stewed at times, but still mostly red fruits. Cabernet Sauvignon, another big red wine, is black fruits, blackberry and bramble type things. Monastrel is almost purple in flavour. It's blackcurrant, blueberry, and for me a signature flavour, Parma violets, which is why I guess I think of it as purple. It can be a face ripper just like Aussie Shiraz, but it's a face ripper in a purple velvet soup. I just love it.
Now, this is from another favourite winemaker of ours, Elena Pacheco. She actually prides herself, doesn't she, on creating what she calls elegant tasting wines from this beast of a grape.
That's right. Perhaps unlike the Australians who embrace the beast of Shiraz, Elena and her family use a wealth of experience in grape growing to slow ripen Monastrel, mitigating some of those big bitter tannins and the astringency you get from full-bodied reds. In fact, this wine is so velvety, you'd be forgiven for thinking it had time in oak, but there's zero oak here.
Jamila is also the home of my favourite type of festival, where they just play loud music all week and chuck red wine at each other out of plastic bottles, shoot each other with wine-filled water pistols. What is not to love?
Make sure you pack plenty of Daz.
Oh, absolutely. What are we pairing this excellent vino with?
For me, it doesn't need the obvious big whack of protein. A rich paella with fish, chicken and chorizo, loads of spice, or a meaty bit of fish with a rich sauce.
I mean, fish? I did not think you would go there.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching our drink-along videos. We hope you enjoyed the wine. Don't forget to come back and spend your £10 voucher on your favourite.